Pre-pandemic, the numbers are staggering, right? We know 1 in 3 women in Australia retire in poverty. We know that women retire with as much as 40% less retirement savings in their super compared to their male counterparts. How concerned are you about the disproportionate impact of the economic slowdown, the amount of unemployment we're seeing across what is traditionally kind of female-dominated industries like services and travel and teaching, and how that further just widens that disparity?
Well, we're obviously very concerned about that. The industries that have been hardest hit happen to be those where women predominate, sort of retail, tourism, sort of a whole range of different industries where women are employed and will not have as secure employment in the future. And women were starting out, as you so rightly said, with less superannuation savings than men. And also with the early release program, which is really focused on under 35s, 50% of those who've taken money out, you have lump sums of up to $20,000 that will not be earning compound interest over a lifetime for women, right at the point where they may be anyway reducing income because they enter into caring responsibilities, either taking time out or lowering their employment levels to care for children.
So, Cate, what kind of economic policies would you like to see from the government, being mindful of the fact that they're clearly trying to, minimise the impact of the immediate financial, disastrous consequences of the pandemic, but longer term, what sort of policies need to be in place?
Well, we had been prior to the pandemic, we'd been advocating for changes, and there's a number of gaps in the super system where women are missing out because of the style of employment. There's a rule that says you don't attract superannuation payments from your employer if you earn less than $450 in a month, and with insecure work and gig economy, a lot of women miss out because of that rule. There's no super paid unpaid parental leave, government paid parental leave, and we've advocated for that to be introduced. There's also a need for some equity in terms of the tax system. Super is tax-preferred savings. However, half the female workforce who earn under $40,000 get no government boost to their superannuation because there is no tax incentive associated with it. So we think that should be new payments in that area targeted towards women, and that would really impact women who are entering on time out of the workforce or less income because of caring for others. So it would make a big difference. We also think it's absolutely critical that the super guarantee increase to 12% as is currently legislated.
Cate, so many women facing difficult times with the COVID-19 pandemic. How important is it that they don't touch or withdraw and they leave their superannuation, that they only withdraw as a measure of last resort?
Well, we think that's clearly very important. We understand that obviously this is a very difficult time for many workers who may have lost their jobs or be feeling very insecure and have difficulties meeting their payments for whether it's rent or mortgages or just food. So people are being faced with very difficult decisions. But what we would recommend is that they think carefully about it and have recourse to all other alternatives before they turn to their super, because of those really significant long-term impacts of taking money out at this point and it not being able to grow and accumulate over their working life for when they retire, because the impact is just compounded and could be dire for women. So look to all those government programs that are available. Look to what else you can do before withdrawing your superannuation savings, if possible. And I must say, women are not represented in accessing early release to the same extent as men. Men are overrepresented. So I think many women are concerned about their super and they're being careful and thinking about it. So we would commend them for that if they can make that choice.
So, Cate, are there any models out in the world that have good pension systems where there isn't such a stark gender gap?
Yeah, well, some of the Scandinavian countries, and some of these things will be within the super system that impact, or the pension system, or they might be just general employment conditions. So obviously, having really good childcare improves women's work. I mentioned that 50% of women in Australia earn under $40,000, and that's because they're faced with a stark choice in terms of returning to work or continuing with their careers when they're minding children. In terms of childcare, access to childcare and cost of childcare, it's you work more than 2 days and it starts to be a net zero gain, or you're paying for the privilege. There's also, parental leave in Scandinavian countries where it's equally shared between men and women, and there are more generous paid provisions, which also attract contributions to your retirement account or your pension account. I think the tax concessions in Australia are completely skewed towards high-income earners. I already mentioned that those half the female workforce, those earning under 40%, get nothing in terms of a government contribution. So there's a lot that can be done, but we also need that level of 12% super to come through, because it's going to be so important now.